There were rumors for far too long, but the time for reckoning is now. Apple has officially announced its new iPhone SE for 2020. You're here, I'm here, let's just do this. Now, obviously I don't have a physical phone yet as it's only been announced. It'll probably be shipping very soon if it hasn't already and will be in everyone's hands on the 24th, in just a few days. More on that later. This is a very important conversation to have because it isn't just one of the most important phone launches this year, it may actually be one of the most important phone launches that Apple has done in recent times. That might be silly to think about, but we have to consider the circumstances of the condition that the world is in right now. During a global pandemic and crisis, here comes Apple deciding that it wants to sell its new iPhone mid-range device for $399. On top of that, it comes with the latest A13 Bionic chip found in the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and wireless charging, and IP waterproofing. And Apple is even offering up to 256 gigs of internal storage. In a world where companies are using top marketing executives to convince you why you need their phone and how much better your life will be with it, Apple is coming along and giving people the option to get the newest device at a fraction of the cost of what is being offered. This is big. The terms budget and mid-range often get confused. I think budget has more of a dollar amount connotation, whereas mid-range simply means, well, it isn't flagship, but it isn't bottom of the barrel. It doesn't have a processor from like the yesteryear. Now, if we're talking about the average consumer that walks into their local wireless carrier store for something new, and let's not forget, cost is important. You have a lot to choose from and sometimes it can be overwhelming. Lo and behold, you're told that this is the new iPhone and for hundreds of dollars less than what the competition is offering, and naturally, we as humans have an inclination to ask ourselves, why? Why is this phone less expensive than its older brother, the iPhone 11 Pro? As you're holding the device, it hits you. The screen is smaller. That must be why it's less expensive, right? Duh. Now for us technical people, there are a myriad of reasons why, but frankly, average consumer just will not care. They'll simply say, well, that's okay, I don't need the biggest screen, and why would I? When it says on the description that it uses the exact same processor as their fancier, more expensive model. This is a win-win for Apple. Apple gets another customer. This isn't rocket science, it's simply the world that we live in. I didn't know this initially, but Apple's even letting you trade in your Android devices towards the purchase of an iPhone. Now, I will say, this deal is nowhere near as good as what Google was offering for the Pixel 3a, which was $250 towards the 3a with the original iPhone SE. But according to Apple, they'll give me a measly $100 for my Pixel. It's gonna be a hard pass for me. I'm keeping mine, Apple. Thank you very much. I think the biggest problem that Android has right now is its device hardware-software fragmentation. Now, what I mean by that is, if you were to hand a Pixel device to, let's say, your parents, and then hand them an LG phone or a Samsung Galaxy, they'll be able to navigate the operating system, but different animations and a lack of certain expected features can be jarring for them. iOS doesn't have this problem. In fact, iOS's core phone operations have largely stayed intact since the very beginning. Apple's philosophy has always been less is more. I think over the years, iOS has taken upon itself to have nicer animations that seem fluid and concise, but don't take away from the user experience. What you may dislike about Apple is one of the main reasons why people prefer Apple. With that being said, I do think Android is a better operating system than iOS, since it offers more flexibility. I'll make a whole video about this in the future. I promise, seriously. Now, a question that I want to pose right now is, where does this leave the Android manufacturers? You see, generally speaking, people used Android devices because they were more competitive in price and features. Now that Apple is releasing a new iPhone priced very competitively, how will Android step up to the plate? For the first time, a majority of anyone using an Android device will have to make a conscious decision. Do you want a blazing fast processor with iMessage and AirDrop for $399? And is it really worth it over what Google is offering? Here's another fun little second question. Do you think that OnePlus would have been more competitive with their pricing had they known that Apple was going to offer the SE with the A13 Bionic chip for $399? Now, I don't have a time machine, but the answer is yes. Yes, they would have. Competition is always a good thing for the consumers. When companies fight for capital, the people that buy their stuff always win. Now this is proof of the pudding. Apple wanted a mid-ranger for the market for some time now, and this is a very logical step in the right direction. Remember at the top of the video when I said more on that later? As it turns out, yours truly is going to be doing something that he hasn't done in almost 10 years. I'm going to be making an iOS device my daily driver. Now, I fully expect to pull my hair out in 3 days, but Who knows? Let's see. And this isn't using an Android and an iOS device like some of the bigger YouTubers. I'm going to flat out just use one device and see how that goes. I know, it's like I'm playing with fire, burning the candle at both ends. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'd love to know, would you ever consider jumping ship to an iOS device or vice versa? Is Apple walled garden becoming too enticing? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot to me. Until next time. I have to get a freaking haircut. I can't do this anymore. All right, I'm out of here.